Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a first installment of a full-length breakdown of my entire Extreme Hero Open match. The match was a doozy. It's considered relatively easy for a European IPSC match, but it's significantly harder and more technical than anything I've shot in the last 2 years within the States on account of COVID. I was not able to travel. And my lack of training for IPSC-style stages definitely showed quite a bit. So I'm going to go through every stage, give sort of my assessment of what I was thinking, what my strategy was in the moment, as well as some of the things that go wrong, both from what I knew at the time and from watching the video. So without further ado, we'll get started. These are presented in order of completion. So this is stage 3, off the jump. Alright, so the only thing that really went wrong here was a little bit of firing hand tension off the draw. You can see I'm just looking at this target for a second before I get shooting it. And then I made a last-minute decision. You can see back here there's a plate and then this partial in this position where I'm standing. And I chose to come in and start on the partial, then go to the plate, just because everyone was making it seem like the timing made it so that was how it had to be done. So it was a little bit late to get shooting on this partial. I'm also trying to play it safe. I did shoot all alphas on the stage, which was good. But then I kind of just threw my gun up at this plate and threw a couple shots at it. And I'm really committed to rolling out here while I'm just throwing pretty well unaimed shots at it. And luckily I hit it before I decided to keep going. But that could have been very costly right off from the very first stage. You see, I can just use that dwell time to come in and set up in this position for the swinger. And the rest of this pretty much goes fine. Next stage. I shot this stage second. My lovely wife Kay was unlucky enough to shoot this first. But it is a doozy of a stage. It's huge. So I'll just let you watch it all the way through first. Lots of very far shots. Lots of very particular positioning going on here. So you can see not a lot of actual shooting in each position, which means a very low hit factor and a lot of stuff to remember. One thing that's easy to forget if you're from the States is in IPSC, you only get the 5 minutes during the actual walkthrough to walk through the stage. And because this stage, as you can see, is sort of like a horseshoe shape, right? Like, we really couldn't see what was going on in this back corner, so you're kind of guessing until you get there and figure out what your plan is. So I probably had, in my estimation, 3 good visualizations going into this, from which I had to memorize a plan to the best of my ability and then execute on it. So you can see there's a lot of things that are not very well refined here. Taking it really easy on the shooting, just trying to make clean shots happen. All through this section is fine. I come into here. It takes me a little bit aggressive coming in, getting started on this. You can see I have to set my weight up to the side and then roll into this position because this array here between this plate and this paper over here is pretty wide for the width of this array. So I go from the plate directly to the swinger, which in my opinion was a good idea just because you can see I have to move my body through this window to just be able to find everything. And then I kind of threw my body over here to find this next target and overshot the position. So I land very base narrow and have to take a little step back. So I'm shooting one of the farther targets in this stage right here. It's probably 15 to 17 yards and a little bit of a lean. And then, of course, because of that, my exit out of that position is a little goofy. Right, running hard across the bridge, cut off right there. Running hard across this bridge right here. Kind of put the gun back up, start shooting back at this stuff. I'm shooting this paper right here on the way into this position. And then it is plate, open target, tough swinger right there. And then I got a little hung up on this reload, which ends up being a problem that plagues me all through the first day. And then I shoot through the rest of this fine and finish it out. All right, next stage. I ended up shooting this one first, logically, right? The last one was a shot second. Played all the way through. All right. And you can see in the video I'm wearing a head cam. I kept forgetting to turn it on, so I have a lot more head cam footage for the later installments of this breakdown. But for the first half here, I don't have actually that much content. Alright, so I actually executed this stage pretty well. The only thing off the jump I'd say, I brought the gun way down right here rather than just transitioning in. But I'm still basically ready to shoot when I get over there. I'm shooting at, from what I recall, 2 pretty far away plates with a no-shoot between them, a no-shoot steel. So those were tight shots right there. Reload into this position. There's 2 open paper on the left side. Oh, actually, I got that backwards. So you can see actually through this banner here. I'm shooting at those steels right now in this position. I was shooting at this partial right here from this position. So again, still, tight shots is the point, right? I shoot through this stuff, shoot a couple more paper, and then it's a wide transition from the far left here all the way over to shoot at this stuff in this corner on the way into the last spot. And I was able to cut out, you can see this position back behind that barrel by just shooting this stuff from a little farther back, but while moving. So this was pretty well executed overall. This was the actual stage finish on that one was pretty much where I wanted to be for the match, right around 90%, which against extremely formidable competition I would have been pretty satisfied with. Next stage, again I am plagued by reload problems. So I come into here, pretty sure that's an unloaded chamber start. So I power into this first position. How about I play this all the way through first, I suppose. I don't even know why I reloaded. That's the most frustrating thing on this, right? So like I said, came into this position. All through to here, the shooting on this all went great. I shot 1 extra shot and had it in my head that I didn't have enough rounds. So I just instinctively chucked a reload right here, and then the reload hung me up. I should be shooting by right here, and obviously, as you can see, I'm still messing around with my gun. So it takes me a good 3/4 to a whole second to get shooting again and work my way into the end of this stage. So that was the only thing that really went wrong on this. You can see the hits there are good, but just that time bit me bad. This was a pretty good performance on this one. Play it through. So the biggest thing that went wrong here is, of course, not getting shooting early enough on these easy targets in the middle of the stage. And then I actually got off plan in the last position. So my plan from this point here was to shoot in order, popper, open, plate, paper, basically left to right. And I threw a pickup shot at the popper and just had it in my head that I should just shoot everything I could see. So you can literally see my head is turning while I'm still looking at that other target. I blast this close guy. And luckily this worked out. It was a forgiving array, so I was able to hit this pretty much at its peak. But that was not the plan. And obviously violating your visualization like that on something that requires timing is more or less luck when it works out. You don't want to praise yourself just because the outcome was something you wanted. So that's a huge issue. Again, still struggling to really get in the rhythm with the IPSC length visualization periods here. This was one of my worst stages in the match, arguably, and you'll see why. Again, just not respecting the steel at all. Bye. The first person from this same stage here. I think what happened right here is my vision got sucked in on this white banner. You can see, obviously, if you look at this, that plate in the back was hard to see. My fiber is like the size of the sun. This big white banner right here catches my eye, and I just did not pick a specific spot on this popper at all. So I end up just kind of throwing a couple shots, like, toward it, essentially, and do not hit it. And again, I'm committed to this movement, and I have to stop, take a hard break to stomp on the brakes and come back and hit it. And that, of course, forces me to throw an emergency reload here and change the plan to engage this swinger first before I go on to shoot the partial. The plan was to shoot this plate, slide over, shoot the partial, which you can see from right here, and then step over, and this swinger would have been right about there, heading up like this. Which, the plan was a little bit risky, and I knew that, but I was pretty sure I could execute on it. The biggest issue was just not understanding that this position right here, shooting at this play, was dangerous, and just totally failing to build in extra discipline to make sure that plan went right. I just kind of went at it kind of recklessly in spite of the difficulty of it. To my hazard, that's what happens. Next stage. Oh, that's some cool video. Oh, geez. Oh, no. How long did I keep this in here for? Well, there's a lot of video. I don't know. I'm probably swearing when I'm talking to Casey there, so I won't play that part. Next stage. I don't have first person of this, which it would have been a good stage to have it, but you can. This is like sort of a traditional USPSA stage where you're starting toes on marks right here. Yeah, I kind of try to take a big step back up range off the jump so that I had position room to get myself into this spot and open myself up to shoot at a pretty tight steel with a no-shoot steel in this back corner right here. And I have a pickup shot on it, obviously, and then burn this close guy, shoot this as soon as you can, and then it's a power run to the end. Pickup shot on that plate, and the close guy. Pretty simple stage, not perfectly executed. This was like a very American style stage with a lot of really fast paced sort of close up shooting. I was way behind on time on this one. Because of this reload right here. And you'll see why. We'll play the rest of this video. I actually have the first person video from this one. Really briefly, when I come into this position here, I shoot these two close guys, and my plan was to come up and shoot paper, steel, paper. Again, the plate just caught my eye, and I threw a shot at it. Good hit, right? But again, just violating that visualization really badly. This reload is what cost me. Hung up on the front, miss it twice. And obviously I should be shooting, like from the time like this wall is out of the way, the gun should be up and shooting so that I'm instantly making this transition happen and working my way into the last spot. Double the plate. It actually wasn't my plan to double that. I thought I missed it with that first shot because, and you can see, right, that hit is like right on the edge. I just shot the protruding edge of that plate and I was not confident that I actually hit it. Right. Other than that, reloads again really biting on me pretty bad. Next stage. This was probably the highest shot difficulty in the whole match on this stage. A lot of the targets were past 15 yards. So I'm aiming hard at these partials right here. And you can see right there, you can read those statistics pretty easily. You see there's 4 shots that are not alphas. I think I put up 1 delta on this swinger right here, and then I think at least a Charlie and a delta on this partial array. And you see I'm aiming at those super hard. And I put up 1 more Charlie or delta in this back array here. So this is really frustrating. I mean, this is where what I mean when I say I just think my training kind of failed me. Because like when you're aiming this hard, the shot should damn well be wherever you're aiming. And that's just not the case. That's where you really get flexed on by the guys that shoot European style IPSC all the time. Is I'm not quite there on time, and still the hits are just guesswork. This was the last stage of the day. This was actually a decent performance, even though at this point I was completely exhausted just from travel problems and everything else. I misplaced a reload on this, but the actual stage performance ends up being pretty decent in spite of some pickups and stuff. This reload was not planned. I wanted to reload after this array right here. Here we go. See, there's 3 pickups on this and a misplaced reload. Targets are about 12 yards away. 2 shots over the top of this plate is irritating. Yeah, somehow ended up being a pretty decent stage run. Just kind of kept moving. I think, I'm not sure if other guys dropped more points or if they just had trouble on the steel, but the time was really competitive in spite of a few pickups there, so that part was good. Also helped that the actual swinger engagement, went together really nicely. That has been the day 1 breakdown. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll cut it all together and get it posted as soon as possible. Day 2 will be coming up shortly, guys. Enjoy.